Your life. If it were a movie, what would the poster look like? What would the tagline be? Maybe you're the reluctant hero, destined for greatness. Maybe you're the misunderstood artist, too profound for this world. Or maybe you're just the charming, flawed protagonist on a journey of self-discovery, waiting for the inciting incident that finally kicks your real story into gear. You walk through the streets, and in your head, the perfect soundtrack kicks in. You have a minor inconvenience, and it's the dark night of the soul. You meet someone new, and you're already casting them in the role of love interest or wise mentor. This feeling, this pervasive, sometimes subconscious belief that you are the protagonist of reality, now has a name: main character syndrome. Main character syndrome. You've seen the term, you've probably even felt it. It's the framework where you are the star, and everyone else, your friends, your family, your co-workers, the barista who spells your name wrong, are just supporting characters. They are extras. They are NPCs in your story, existing only when they are in a scene with you. For years, this idea bubbled on the fringes of the internet, a half-joke, a meme. But in a world saturated by social media, where every one of us has a platform to broadcast our lives, this joke has started to feel less funny. So, what is this? Is main character syndrome just a harmless Gen Z trend? A new name for self-confidence? Or a form of digital self-care? Or is it a symptom of something deeper, a cultural narcissism driven by algorithms, a profound loneliness that leaves us feeling isolated, performing for an audience that isn't even there? Is it empowering or is it toxic? This is the complex psychology of main character syndrome. First, let's be absolutely clear. Main character syndrome is not a clinical diagnosis. You will not find it in the DSM-5, the official manual for psychiatric disorders. At least, not yet. It is a pop psychology term, a piece of cultural shorthand born from platforms like TikTok to describe a very specific set of modern behaviors. To understand it, we must first separate it from its more positive, empowering cousin, main character energy. Those not change. Main character energy is, at its best, an act of agency. It's about reclaiming your own narrative. In a world that often tries to make you feel small or insignificant, main character energy is about treating yourself as important. It's romanticizing the mundane parts of your life. It's making yourself a gourmet cup of coffee on a Tuesday morning just because you deserve it. It's buying yourself flowers. It's taking yourself on a solo date and feeling completely fulfilled, not waiting for someone else to validate your existence. This is healthy self-love. It's recognizing your own worth. But a syndrome implies something different. A syndrome is a collection of symptoms that point to a dysfunction, a problem. Main character syndrome is what happens when this energy curdles. It's when the romanticization stops being an internal act of self-care and becomes an external performance. It's when you stop being the protagonist of your own life and start believing you are the protagonist of everyone's life. The symptoms of the syndrome typically fall into 3 categories. First, a severe lack of empathy. In a movie, supporting characters only exist to serve the protagonist's story. They provide comic relief, wisdom, or conflict. They are tools for the hero's growth. When you have main character syndrome, you start treating real people this way. You expect them to follow your script. You get frustrated, even angry, when your supporting cast deviates. Your friend is having a genuine crisis, but you find yourself annoyed because it's interrupting your good mood. Your partner gets a promotion, and your first thought isn't joy for them, but anxiety about how it will affect your story. You stop seeing people as complex individuals with their own rich internal lives, and start seeing them as plot devices. Their autonomy becomes an inconvenience. Second, excessive narrativizing. This is the constant, compulsive need to frame your life as a story as it is happening. This goes beyond just posting on social media. It's the feeling that you are producing your life instead of living it. You're not just experiencing a moment, you are mentally storyboarding it. You're thinking about how you'll describe this moment later. You are curating your own experiences for this hypothetical audience. It's filming yourself crying to document your low point before the comeback. It's seeing a beautiful sunset and feeling a compulsive need to capture it, not to remember it, but to prove it happened, to add it to the highlight reel of your movie. Life isn't lived, it's contentified. And third, unrealistic expectations of life itself. Movies are clean, they have structure, they have dramatic turning points. Life does not. A person deep in main character syndrome develops a strange relationship with fate. They expect grand, cinematic things to happen to them. They are waiting for the meet cute in the bookstore, the confrontation with their arch nemesis at work, or the dramatic, inciting incident that will finally reveal their true destiny. When life is just normal, when it's quiet or admin-filled or simply average, it feels wrong. It feels like a failure of the plot. This can lead to chronic disappointment, or worse, manufacturing drama just to make the story more interesting. So, where did this come from? Why now? This isn't an accident. We aren't just waking up and deciding to be protagonists. We are being actively programmed to think this way. The rise of main character syndrome is not a single source problem. It's a perfect storm of four powerful forces converging at this exact moment in history. Force 1, the algorithmic stage. If you want to understand this syndrome, look no further than the device in your hand. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube haven't just given us a stage, they have built an algorithmic universe that revolves entirely around each individual. Think about the For You page. It is, by its very design, a narcissistic feedback loop. The algorithm learns what you like, what you watch, what you find funny, and it feeds you an endless, customized reality built solely on your preferences. It creates a digital echo chamber where your worldview is the only one that matters. Social media trains us to be performers. We are all broadcasters, curating our personal brand. We receive validation, likes, comments, shares for successfully performing our lives. We are not just consuming content, we are in a constant, low-level competition to be the content. The algorithm doesn't just entertain you, it centers you. Force 2, Western individualism. This isn't just about technology, it's about philosophy. This syndrome is particularly potent in the West, and especially in the United States. For generations, we have been raised on a steady diet of individualism, the American dream, the self-made man, the lone hero who follows their own path against all odds. We are told from childhood, you are special, you can be anything you want to be. Follow your dream. Follow your dream. These are powerful, often positive messages. But they are also messages that place the individual at the center of the universe. Main character syndrome is simply this cultural philosophy, finding its ultimate expression in the digital age. It's individualism on steroids. Force 3, an epidemic of loneliness. But what if this isn't arrogance? What if it's desperation? By many metrics, we are living through an epidemic of loneliness. We are more connected digitally, yet more disconnected personally than at any point in human history. We have fewer close friends, weaker community ties, and more social anxiety. when you feel invisible, small, and alienated from a chaotic and confusing world. Casting yourself as the main character can be a profound act of self-preservation. It's a coping mechanism. It's a fantasy of control. If the world outside feels random and impersonal, you can build a new world inside your head where you matter, where your actions have meaning, and where your story is the only one worth telling. It's a way to feel seen, even if the audience is just yourself. Force 4. Cinematic and narrative saturation. Finally, we've been taught to think this way. We are the most media-saturated generation to ever live. From the moment we could watch a screen, we've consumed thousands upon thousands of hours of movies, television shows, books, and video games, and almost all of them follow the same narrative rules. We instinctively understand the hero's journey. We know what a 3-act structure feels like. We recognize the call to adventure, the refusal of the call, the crossing of the threshold. We have absorbed this narrative framework so deeply that we now try to superimpose it onto our own messy, non-linear lives. We look for the inciting incident. We brace for the dark night of the soul. We crave the climax. We are trying to find the plot in the randomness of existence. We're not just living. We're trying to make our lives make sense in the only way we know how, by turning them into a movie. This is where the conversation gets serious. This is the central danger. When does acting like the main character cross the line into something far more toxic, something clinically significant? When does it stop being a syndrome and start bordering on a disorder? We need to talk about Narcissistic Personality Disorder, or NPD. Again, it is crucial to state one is a pop psychology term, MCS, and the other is a severe, complex, and deeply ingrained clinical diagnosis, NPD. They are not the same thing, but they share a dangerous overlap, a profound focus on the self, often at the direct expense of others. The core difference between the two often comes down to two things: awareness and empathy. Let's break that down. A person with main character syndrome feels like the protagonist. They are acting, performing, but deep down, often buried under layers of insecurity, they know it's a performance. They have a flickering awareness that other people are real. Because of this, they are still capable of feeling genuine guilt or shame. After they hijack their friend's birthday party to talk about their drama, they might feel awful about it later. Their behavior, while selfish, is often rooted in anxiety, loneliness, or insecurity. A person with clinical NPD does not feel like the protagonist. They believe, at a fundamental and structural level, that they are superior. It is not a performance. It is their core reality. With NPD, there is a profound, structural lack of empathy. They are often incapable of seeing other people as anything but tools for their own use or extensions of themselves. As one clinical psychologist, Dr. Ramani Durvasula, might put it, a person with MCS might feel terrible after they make their friend's crisis all about them. A person with NPD will genuinely believe that their friend's crisis is all about them, or will be annoyed that the friend is bothering them with such trivialities. The person with MCS is playing a part. The person with NPD believes the part is real. But the real cost of main character syndrome isn't just to the character themselves, it's to the supporting cast. 2. What does it feel like to be the sidekick in someone else's movie? It's exhausting. It's being the friend who only receives a text when they need something. It's being the partner whose accomplishments are always met with a "that's nice" before the conversation is immediately rerouted back to their life. It's the feeling of constantly pouring your energy, your empathy, and your time into a person who sees you as a mirror, not a window. You cease to be a person. You become a prop, You become an audience member for a one-person show night after night. And that is the deep structural loneliness of main character syndrome. The main character is, by definition, alone. They are surrounded by a cast, but connected to no one. They are the star of a movie with an audience of one. So, here we are, trapped, surrounded by algorithms that center us, a culture that celebrates us as individuals, and a media landscape that scripts our view of reality. It's no wonder so many of us are auditioning for the lead role. It's the only one we're ever shown. If you recognize this pattern in yourself, if you feel caught in this performance, exhausted by your own movie, how do you stop? How do you walk off the set? The answer is beautifully simple and incredibly difficult. You stop trying to be the main character and you start striving to be the author. A character is passive. They are trapped by the plot. Things happen to them. They are reactive. But an author is active. An author has power. An author writes the story. And this is how you do it. The antidote to being the main character is to become the director. And a good director cares about the entire cast. Put the camera on someone else. Practice active, radical, empathetic listening. When you ask your friend, "How are you?" actually listen to the answer. Ask follow-up questions. Be curious about their story. Resist, with all your might, the urge to interrupt with, "Oh, that's like my story." Just listen. Make them the main character of that moment. You'll be stunned by the connection it builds. Life is not a highlight reel. Life is not a 3-act structure. Life is mostly the small, quiet, boring bits in between the big scenes. And that's where joy is actually found. Stop producing your life and just live it. Put the phone down. Experience a beautiful meal without documenting it. Watch a sunset and just watch it. Feel a sad emotion without needing to narrativize it for your future self. Allow your life to be messy, unfilmed, and wonderfully mundane. Be present in the scene, not directing it from behind the camera. Here is the final truth. Being the main character is, by its very nature, the loneliest role in the world. You are trapped by your own script, endlessly performing for an audience that isn't there, surrounded by a cast you never truly know. But being the author, that's where freedom is. The author has the power to write a new story. A story where you aren't the only one who matters. A story about connection, about community, about profound empathy. You can write a story where you realize the best movies, the best lives, are not about one single shining star. They are about a brilliant, complex, and loving ensemble cast. The goal isn't to be the main character in your movie. It's to be a real person in your life. What do you think? Is main character syndrome a harmless way to build confidence or a dangerous symptom of our modern, isolated world? Share your story and your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching.